to you live and direct from the Newsfirst newsroom here in Colombo, Sri Lanka. This is your primetime news bulletin. A very good evening. I'm Shane Silva.
A very good evening to you. I'm Florine Rajendran. Here's a look at tonight's headlines.
3 people killed in a fire at a restaurant in Maradana. Opposition lodges complaint with IMF over central bank bond scam. Askeri and Malwatu chief prelates extend their blessings for the Ranbhoomi rally. Signs of further political crossovers.
සජාතික පක්ෂයේද අතහැරලා එකතු වෙන മന്ത്രിවරු පිරිසක් අපිත් එක්ක කටයුතු කරන්න සාකච්ඡා කරමින් තිබෙන්නේ.
විපක්ෂයේ ඉන්න බොහෝ දෙනෙක් නාම යෝජනා ඉල්ලන තත්ත්වයක් තමයි අද අපට දකින්න තියෙන්නේ.
3 people were killed today in a fire which erupted at a restaurant in Maradana. The fire broke out around 1 p.m. The rescue operations to retrieve those who were trapped inside the burning building were hindered due to the conjoined buildings and a lack of entry points. The bodies of the 3 people who were trapped inside the burning building could only be recovered after the fire was extinguished.
I did not think about my own life during that moment. The heat was overwhelming. The 3 people who were trapped inside had tried to get out, fearing for their lives. 2 bodies were found in the bathroom while the other was found under the sink. An uncle and one of my closest friends have been taken to the hospital.
A motorcycle and a car which were parked opposite the restaurant were also damaged in the fire. The fire was extinguished after 2 hours and 6 vehicles of the fire department were used.
We were informed of a fire in the Maradana area around 1 p.m. today, and we dispatched several vehicles from the Maradana headquarters immediately, but the vehicles could not reach the location in time due to traffic. The spread of the fire was controlled, but 3 people were trapped inside. We have found out that the fire was caused by a gas leak. There were 6 or 7 gas cylinders. Therefore, I think the gas had leaked out of the cylinder due to the heat.
Newsfirst Chaturanga Hapuarachi was also at the scene.
As you can see behind me, the hotel is completely destroyed owing to the fire, and as of right now, scene of crime officers of the Sri Lanka police have arrived here to ascertain the reason as to how the fire erupted. The fire brigade, however, told us that this location has only 1 entrance and 1 exit point. Therefore, a number of people were trapped inside when the fire erupted, and they were unable to save these individuals as there was only 1 entrance to this location.
Major traffic congestion occurred due to this incident in Maradana and surrounding areas. The injured were taken to hospital amid the congestion. 3 individuals were brought in around 2 in the evening. All 3 were males and were pronounced dead on arrival. There weren't any major burn injuries which might have been caused by the fire. The initial conclusion on the cause of death would be asphyxiation or inhaling nauseous gases.
President Maithripala Sirisena says the procedure followed by the previous regime with regard to the will path to reserve cannot be condoned. The president made this statement during a meeting with officers of the Sri Lanka Wildlife and Nature Protection Society.
The Sri Lanka Wildlife and Nature Protection Society presented a copy of the 25th anniversary edition of their Sinhala publication Varana to President Maithripala Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat today. The society also presented several proposals on environment and wildlife conservation to the President.
විල්පත්තු ප්‍රදේශයේ තුල දැන් මන්නාරම ප්‍රදේශයේදී
I do not agree with the decisions taken by the previous government with regard to the area of the Vilpattu Reserve in Mana. A task force was appointed and lands in the reserve belonging to the Forest Conservation Department were given for resettlement. Our country only has jungles at present in areas that were affected by the war. Because of the war, those jungles were left alone. If not for the war, those too would have disappeared. Nevertheless, the Forest Conservation Department, the Ministry of Environment and Wildlife and us hope to introduce a new program on reforestation and environment conservation.
The chief prelates of the Askiri and Mawati chapters of the Siam sect extended their blessing for the effort undertaken by the MTV networks to foster national unity through the Ranbhoomi rally. The chief prelates extended their blessings when representatives called on them to inform them of the arrival of the Ranbhoomi rally in Kandy.
Representatives of MTV, MBC and Newsfirst visited the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter, the most venerable Tibbatuawe Sri Sumangala Thera, at the Malwatu Mahavihara in Kandy this morning and apprised him on the Ranbhoomi rally.
අපි තලෙමන්නාරෙන් තමයි පටන් ගත්තේ පහුගිය 8 වෙනිදා. ඊට පස්සේ යාපනයේ කිලිනොච්චිය මුලතිව් ඒ පැති වලට ගිහිල්ලා ත්‍රිකුණාමලය හරහා දැන් දඹුල්ල අද නුවරට පැමිණෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි ඇත්තටම අපේ හඳුරාර එකමුතුකම පෙන්වන්න මේ ස්මාරක හදන එක තමයි අපේ බලාපොරොත්තු. එකමුතුකම නැති කරන්න සැකලනවා ඉස්මාල්ලා එකතු වෙන්න. ජෝකම් ඕනේ කරමුකෝ.
මේ වැඩ පිළිවෙල ඉවරනකොට මහා කාමතුරුනේ ගම්මාන 1500ක් ආවරණය කරන්න තමයි හදලා තියෙන්නේ.
Representatives of MTV, MBC and Newsfirst also called on the chief prelate of the Askari chapter, most venerable Galagama Sri Attadasi Thera today.
අපි ජාතික ජීවිතය ජීවත් වෙනවා. ඒක නිසා අපි සියලු දෙනාම එකට සමගින් ජීවත් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි අපි හැම අවස්ථාවකදීම අවවාද අනුශාසනාවෙන් පවත්වන්නේ. හැම කෙනෙක්ම ධාර්මික පුරවැසියන් හැටියට ජීවත් වෙන්න ඕනේ.
The chief prelate blessed the Ranbhoomi rally and expressed his appreciation for the program.
We have great praise for Sirasa when it comes to the religious activities that are carried out. When Sirasa comes to places of worship and covers the religious observances in a manner that all intentions are achieved, happiness is brought about in the people who are watching it. I am extremely happy that the work that Sirasa is carrying out at present has been subject to the praise of all people, especially the Buddhist populace. We greatly appreciate the steps that Sirasa will take in the future as well, which will receive the praise of the people and which will propagate religious observances and give advice to everyone on following the Panchasila.
In related news, the Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity, organized by MTV MBC, Newsfirst, Colombo Port City and the National Youth Services Council, has completed 18 days of the 40-day island-wide journey to spread the message of peace, coexistence and harmony. Resuming the journey from Matale this morning, the Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity reached the hill capital Kandy this afternoon.
Religious observances were held at the Sri Muthuamman Kovil in Matale this morning to invoke blessings on the Ranbhoomi rally and the endeavour to foster national unity by spreading the message of coexistence and harmony.
I would like to express gratitude and respect for the effort made by the Sirasa Network, the National Youth Council and Colombo Port City to create reconciliation and harmony.
An event was held at the Matale town this morning to flag off the Ranbhoomi rally. The people of Matale, strong with the memory of the unity they displayed in the independence struggle, joined the rally.
මේක ඉතා උතුම් අවස්ථාවක්. ලක්වැසියෝ සියලු දෙනා සාම සුදු නෙළුම් ගෙන දුක අමතක වී සතුටු සිනා ජය පෙතිරෙයි ජනාදරේ දිනා நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் ஒரே ஜாதி ஒரே நீதி ஒரே மக்கள் என்ற இலங்கையர் என்ற வகையில் நாங்கள் பெருமைப்படுகின்றோம். We are Sri Lankan.
I watch the telecast on all 19 days. I watch it at 7 p.m. and again at 10 p.m. There is no doubt that this is spreading a message of peace.
Ceremonially gifting a brick for the Ranbhoomi monument, the people of Mathle too symbolize their commitment to unity through sustainable development. The Ranbhoomi rally approached Wattegama, the second stop for the day, to a warm welcome from the people. The people of Wattegama waited with great anticipation for the arrival of the Ranbhoomi rally, which is journeying across 1,500 villages, towns and cities around the island.
We must appreciate this endeavour undertaken by Sirisa.
The people of Wattegama too joined hands to ceremonially gift a brick for the Ranbhoomi monument.
We have dedicated a brick on behalf of the Pathadumbara Divisional Secretariat to this program that has been undertaken to foster peace and harmony in the country. We are very happy to be a part of this.
Subsequently, the Ranbhoomi rally for unity commenced the journey to the hill capital. The Ranbhoomi rally for unity received a warm welcome as it arrived at the temple of the Tooth Relic. A massive crowd had gathered in Kandy to welcome the Ranbhoomi rally, which will go down in history as the largest undertaking of its kind to foster national unity, coexistence and harmony.
We are very happy to be a part of this endeavour organised by Newsfirst, the National Youth Council and the Colombo Port City. I believe that the time has come for us to unite. I would like to invoke blessings on this initiative that is underway with the key objective of creating national harmony and reconciliation among the people, safeguarding the identity of the nation. I pray that strength be given to walk on this path, so we will not face the same challenges that we faced in the past.
The people who gathered in Kandy, representing the strength of a nation united, gifted a brick for the Ranbhoomi monument. The Ranbhoomi rally for unity, which is bringing Sri Lankan hearts together brick by brick, will complete day 19 of the island-wide journey tomorrow. The rally will be flagged off from the Cultural Centre in Galegedera, Kandy tomorrow. The Ranbhoomi rally will reach the Rambukana railway station at 11 a.m. before proceeding to Mavanalla at 2 p.m.
Brick by brick, our hearts become one, become a key stakeholder in national unity, a golden opportunity for schoolgoers. Join in the designing of the Unity Monument. Submit your design on an A4 sheet of paper before the 5th of June. Send in your submissions to Ranbhoomi Rally, MTV Channel Private Limited, 45/3, Braybrook Place, Colombo 2.
A group of opposition MPs took steps today to inform the IMF resident representative in Sri Lanka on the controversial central bank bond issue.
A group of opposition MPs led by Professor G.L. Peeris visited the office of the IMF's resident representative at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka this morning. The MP's purpose was to inform the resident representative on the controversial central bank bond issue.
The governor of the central bank functions as an alternative director of the International Monetary Fund. Thereby, we have a duty, and the IMF has a right to know the whole truth of this matter. We informed the IMF resident representative on the entirety of this matter and noted that this is an incident of major corruption that cannot be suppressed. MPs are signing a no-confidence motion in the Prime Minister at present, noting that the people cannot place trust in the Prime Minister due to the irregularities that have occurred as a result of the central bank bond issue. There is a pickpocket theory. What is this theory? When the people run after a pickpocket crying thief, thief, the pickpocket points at someone else and cries thief, thief. So the people become confused as to who the real thief is. The UNP and the Honourable Prime Minister are applying the pickpocket theory at all instances with regard to this issue.
Meanwhile, at a media briefing convened today, an alternative group of the JVP also commented on the controversial bond issue.
We are all aware that this government came into power to investigate the fraud and corruption of the previous regime. Now we see that the largest fraud in recent times has occurred within this new government. When inquiries are being made into this, what is the Prime Minister, Ranil Wickremesinghe, saying? He says that when inquiring into this fraud, they discovered massive financial fraud. Now they are trying to suppress the fraud that occurred recently to inquire into another fraud. We say inquire into the previous fraud as well, but do not use it to suppress investigations of the fraud that has occurred in the present. The first example must be set by the group who hope to catch the thieves. In order to catch thieves, you must refrain from thievery yourselves.
It was revealed at a press conference held at the Abe Arame today that a group of UNP MPs will cross over to the opposition.
UNP howlata giyapu Sri Lanka Nidalas Pakshe amativaru.
4 SLFP members who went and joined the UNP coalition have left their ministerial posts. More ministers will take the same decision in the future. This does not only include members who crossed over to the other side and got posts. There are discussions being held with some UNP members who are willing to cross over and join us. A no-confidence motion is being signed against the Prime Minister in Parliament by the members of Parliament. We expect to hand this over to the Speaker in the coming days.
දවස්වල කතානායකතුමාට බාර දීමට අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
He added that a resolution to be submitted to the President was adopted at a UPFA party leaders meeting held on Thursday. We need to inform the President that the current government should be removed and that it should be handed over to a UPFA government. That discussion ended successfully. If the President inquires from us, we are ready to say who the Prime Minister is. The President should tell us that he is ready to send Ranil Wickremesinghe home. Our decision is to appoint a Prime Minister and dissolve the government.
The Minister of Mass Media also expressed his sentiments on crossovers.
Let alone crossovers from the governing party to the opposition. We are now witnessing a scenario where they are earnestly seeking for nominations from the governing UNP to join the national government after elections. So in the future, you will see how many will cross over from the opposition to the governing party. The minister made these comments while on an inspection tour around the proposed site for the construction of a housing scheme for journalists in Diyagama, Homagama.
Staying in local news, Minister of Housing and Samurdhi Sajith Premadasa, speaking at an event held in Ambalantota today, commented on the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
Housing and Samurdhi Minister Sajith Premadasa visited the Theraputta Primary School in Ambalantota this morning and looked into the provision of free lunches to students at the school.
Sri Lanka Nidalas Pakshe Taruna Mantrivarek.
A young MP from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party says the SLFP is a major party comprising of the 5 major forces. The forces they had were drugs and casinos, rape and child abuse and bribery. Those were the 5 major forces that designed SLFP policies. Now, my friends, under the leadership of His Excellency the President, we can once again see the true major forces of Sangha, Guru, Veda, Govi and Labourer coming together within the SLFP.
Chief Prelate of the Askiri chapter, the most venerable Galagama Attadasi Thero, has requested former Minister Kehelia Ramukwala to assist the government in its endeavours rather than hinder them. The Chief Prelate had made this request during a meeting with the former minister today. While gently reminding the governing party to take certain avenues that will assist them, also assist them at times of inconvenience. That is what should be reflected from both sides. What is at hand is good. Former Minister Kehelia Ramukwala held a short media briefing after paying homage to the Chief Prelate. There were undoubtedly loopholes in the conduct of Mahinda Rajapaksa and his so-called Rajapaksa regime. Even we might be accused in certain aspects of it. We exploited the term international conspiracies and now it has become an obscene term. I am of the opinion that instead of making decisions for short-term gain, all should take decisions with the country in mind.
The review of the bail application filed by remanded former Minister Johnston Fernando was postponed once again today. The order was issued by the Kurunegala High Court today after the senior state counsel requested 2 days to file objections.
Former Minister Johnston Fernando was taken into custody on the 5th of May. He was arrested in connection with alleged financial fraud that occurred at Laksatusa under the previous regime. When the case was taken up at the Kurunegala Magistrates Court today, Magistrate Ravindra Premaratne ordered that Johnston Fernando be returned to remand custody until the 8th of June. Parallel to this, the bail application filed by Johnston Fernando was taken up before Kurunegala High Court Judge Sisira Kumara Ratnayaka today. Review of the bail application was postponed to Thursday, the 28th of this month.
A motion calling for the withdrawal of an order preventing a director of Avant-Garde Security Services from travelling overseas was considered at the Galle Magistrates Court today. The motion was presented by Army veteran Palita Piasiri Fernando, who is also a former liaison officer of the Ministry of Defence. The attorney representing Fernando submitted to court that his client be granted permission to attend an event organised by the Asian Athletics Association.
The CID submitted to court today that since the individual in question functioned as a director at Avant-Garde Security Services, if he is allowed to travel abroad, he could destroy evidence pertaining to the ongoing investigation of Avant-Garde Security Services. Officers of the CID noted that as such, they object to the withdrawal of the order prohibiting overseas travel. The attorney representing Palita Piasiri Fernando submitted to court that his client did not at any time hold any position at Avant-Garde Security Services. Thereby, he requested that court withdraw the order prohibiting overseas travel subject to any conditions. Considering submissions made by both parties, Galle Magistrate Nilupuli Lankapura noted that a decision would be announced on the 27th of this month.
Nilupuli Lankapura මෙනවිය ප්‍රකාශ කළේ.
A series of protests and demonstrations were staged today condemning the rape of a schoolgirl in the Punkudithivu area in Jaffna. These are a few of those demonstrations.
A hartal was conducted in Kalmune today condemning the rape and murder of the schoolgirl in the Punkudithivu area in Jaffna. Meanwhile, the Women's Movement for Freedom conducted another demonstration opposite the Colombo Fort railway station under the title Standing Against the Abuse of Women.
This is a general and common problem that every single woman faces around the world and not just in our country. Look at every woman as if they were your mother or sister. Then and then only can we change this.
දියණිය කියන ආකල්පයෙන් හැඟීමෙන් ඒ අවබෝධයෙන් බලන්න පටන් ගන්න එතෙන් සිට අපිට මේක වෙනස් කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
Meanwhile, another protest was staged in Vaunia today condemning the incident. The protest was organized by a number of university students. The protesters requested the relevant authorities to implement the law immediately and to bring the perpetrators to justice. A sit-in was organized this evening opposite the Galle bus depot condemning the schoolgirl's death.
I say this to everyone. This issue should be addressed setting aside caste, religion or political affiliation. Everyone should work accordingly. If the child is the lifeblood and the future of this country, they must be protected.
Developing Story, brought to you by
General Secretary of the Citizens Front, MP J. Sriranga, says that everyone should unite to win the rights of the Tamil people. The MP made this statement at a ceremony held to declare open a cultural centre in Oliphant Estate in Norelia.
A series of programs to open cultural centres under the theme Priority to Education for the Welfare of the People of the Hill Country is being spearheaded by MP Sriranga. The cultural centre at the Oliphant Estate in Norelia was declared open by the MP today, and he received a warm welcome upon his arrival.
நுவரெலியா அதாவது நுவரெலியா மாவட்டத்தின் பிரதான பாதையிலிருந்து உங்கள் லயங்கள்
There are carpeted roads in the Norelia area today. It was said before that carpeted roads cannot be built here, but I have shown today that it is possible. It is only afterwards that the ministers in this area commenced work. Present-day politicians only work to obtain benefits from people in various areas. The children of these politicians receive a very good education, but here the people are divided on an upper and lower basis. In order to win our rights today, we must all come together, casting aside geographical divisions. When the war was raging, the Tamil people of Jaffna and Batticaloa did not set themselves on fire. But this happened in Tamil Nadu. This happened with the common feeling that we are all Tamil people. Incidents of disappearances occurred disregarding geographical divisions. When people were murdered in 1983, it happened disregarding geographical divisions. In order to resolve all these problems, we must all come together.
And
that's a wrap of tonight's edition of Primetime News. I'm Florine Rajendran.
And I'm Shred Silva. Take care and good night.